All right, let's go ahead and begin. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Grant Wilson. I'm the Executive Director of Earth Law Center. It is such a pleasure to have you here today. Earth Law Center is going to start doing regular briefings for the public and our friends and supporters just to let you know what we're up to and so you can put a face to the name. Today is the first of those briefings, and we're going to go through a variety of our programs and updates and exciting opportunities to get involved. We're going to move pretty quick because there's so much to cover. So you're going to meet a variety of friends who will speak for about 3 minutes each about their programs. We'll do Q&A at the end if we have time, but please put questions in the chat in the meantime, and our team's going to be monitoring that and answer any questions as we go. And if we have a little time for discussion at the end, great. So just a quick introduction to Earth Law Center if you don't know us. Our mission is to align human laws with the laws of nature. And essentially, what if our entire legal system was reimagined with nature at its core instead of being designed only to represent human interests? And as you know, humans have rights, corporations also have rights, but nature is treated as property or a thing or a resource. And this is a major reason for its precipitous decline. But what if nature had a voice? What if it had rights? What if it had a seat at the table? What if nature could defend itself in the courts? These are the type of things that our team at Earth Law Center is working on all over the world since 2008. So we're over 15 years old. And along with a growing number of partners in the space, there are actually new groups in the Earth Law Rights of Nature space popping up all the time, and we're really excited about that. And a big part of our mission these days is to ensure these new groups can thrive and advance their mission alongside our own. We have staff in 7 countries and 7 states. We're a global organization. We also have a beautiful little office in Southwest Colorado that I hope everyone comes to visit. And we're a member of lots of international bodies and have a voice on the global stage advancing our work. Lastly, if you haven't checked out our website for a while, it's totally refreshed and much easier to understand what we're doing. Go check it out at earthlawcenter.org. The first substantive update I'll talk about, and then I'll pass it off to members of our team. There is a huge opportunity at the Global Biodiversity Conference that Earth Law Center is amongst the leaders of. And what happened is at the last Global Biodiversity Conference, which is kind of like the twin sister of the climate change negotiations, we and partners advocated strongly for support for the rights of Mother Earth, the rights of nature, and something called Mother Earth Centric Actions, which is essentially Earth Law, the work that we do. And thanks to the work of our team, our partners such as Rights of Mother Earth and the leadership of Bolivia, all of these concepts got into the Biodiversity Treaty's work plan for the next 10 years. And so countries across the world are submitting plans right now. Every country has to do this on how they're going to restore biodiversity in their own countries. And we are encouraging countries to include rights of nature, rights of Mother Earth, and Mother Earth-centric actions as part of those plans because they've already been highlighted in the global treaty in the negotiation stage. So it's a huge opportunity for us to work directly with countries on these concepts. And not only that, this could be one of the biggest opportunities in Earth Law, rights of nature history. The commitment to achieve Mother Earth-centric actions is housed within a target that envisions $200 billion per year of support to restore biodiversity. So in other words, countries can apply to a global fund to implement Earth Law, Mother Earth-centric actions. And Earth Law Center is going to be working as consultants for different countries and governments that wish to do this, advancing our expertise and work in this space directly with nations. So if you know any countries or governments that want to work with us on this space, please reach out. A quick acknowledgement, a team of 3 amazing interns, Emily, Charlotte, and Sammy, did most of the research on this project this summer and are hopefully all going to be attending the biodiversity negotiations in late October in Cali, Colombia. Our team will be there. If you're there as well, please join us. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to Elizabeth Dunn.
Thanks, Grant. Okay, welcome everyone. I just wanted to share with you a little bit about the work that we've been doing here in the Cascadia Bioregion. As I put in the chat, I'm in Port Angeles, Washington, which is in Lower Elwha Clam Territory. And this is the program that I support in this region. And then I also generally support Earth Law Center's work throughout the US and in Canada. One of the projects I'm most excited about has been our work with the Elwha watershed and protecting the legacy forests in that watershed. We had some big wins last year protecting over 200 acres of older forests in that watershed. And I should say that this movement, this legacy forest movement, is in partnership with a growing and large number of NGOs who are concerned about these forests because they are these havens of biological diversity, carbon sequestration, these sanctuaries, if you will. If you kind of imagine these groves of trees and these forests that are places that you would go and visit, maybe in places like California, where you'd have redwood groves set aside for protection. These are the types of forests that the Washington State Department of Natural Resources has been chopping down. And so we are working to stop that in a number of creative ways, including using some ecocentric governance framing. I wanted to point out that we did a film called Last Stand, Saving the Elwha River's Legacy Forest. That film is now in, I think, 11 film festivals and has won awards for Best Short Film in 2 festivals so far. And that film is on Earth Law Center's YouTube channel, but it is also open source. So just wanted to point out for partners, if you want to show the film, you're also welcome to reach out to me. I can speak at a virtual event or maybe attend an event in person. We really want that information out there. And the story actually just reflects our efforts, the work that I did, the work that we did forming this coalition, the Elwha Legacy Forest Coalition, to stop this timber sale, and leading into our next steps, which is protecting all of the legacy forests in the Elwha River watershed and beyond. So we have a lot of creative legal tools to try to do that. One includes leases and easements, essentially recognizing that the forest has a right to exist, thrive, and evolve. And another project related to this, and those are the photos I have up there, is the Cedar Tree Sanctuary Project. And that project really hones in on the fact that the western red cedar tree is threatened. It's threatened by dieback, it's threatened by logging, again, on lands managed by the Washington Department of Natural Resources in particular. And these photos, you can see pictures of some large cedar trees that are part of a timber sale that has been sold, that folks are working to stop. And then you can also see culturally modified trees, because these trees are so important because the bark is used and harvested to create many different items like baskets. They're used to create canoes, all kinds of things. So there are cultural keystone species as well as really important to the entire region as an iconic species. And so we're calling for action to protect these cedar trees that are in these legacy forests, and uniting folks around that. And so anyone, I don't know anyone who's on the call, but again, if you're interested in any of these projects, if you're interested in collaborating on that, please definitely reach out. I will touch base briefly on our Rights of Rivers work. I don't know how I'm doing on time, but that work, I'm working with a First Nation to revitalize our Indigenous legal order and recognize the rights of our river. And that's a really in-depth process. In addition to what you see, a lot of these resolutions and declarations occurring, recognizing the rights of river, we're going in and actually also really changing the whole legal code, drafting different types of laws. So it's a really in-depth project to transform the entire legal system, and with it, the way that we relate to nature. And the rights of orcas, the southern resident orcas, touch on this briefly. This has been a long-standing campaign that Earth Law Center worked on in partnership with the Legal Rights for Salish Sea, developing toolkits and different models to recognize the rights of the southern resident orcas, which ties into our other campaigns because the forests and the orcas and the salmon and the rivers are all connected. And we're currently working on this campaign. I guess I want to note and give a special shout out to our partner, Legal Rights for Salish Sea, that had partnered with us through a good portion of this campaign for really taking those proclamations and giving them to like the city of Port Townsend, getting those passed. And for next steps here, we're looking at building our capacity to see what we can do to support moving forward, to recognize the rights of Southern resident orcas and take actions that are necessary to ensure their survival, which includes breaching the lower Snake River dams. So those are just some of the topics and projects and things that I work on. Again, I just encourage you to please check out the film. Please share the film. I've been delighted to find people hosting it, showing it to different folks, and to just really change at a consciousness level, and also to inspire shifting our laws so that we can recognize that these forests have a right to exist, thrive, and evolve. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. All right, on to our Latin America legal program. Constanza, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Grant. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Earth Law briefing. Well, I am Constanza Prieto. I am the Latin American Legal Director. I want to share a little bit about our program. Our program has been very successful. Therefore, last year, we were advancing the progress of ecocentric legislation, conservation, and environmental justice, protecting critical ecosystem in the region. We have been working in river, forest, ocean, mangrove, amplifying the voices of indigenous people who are key partners of us, and escalating the global impact of Earth Law in the international forums and instruments. We have like the honor to work in 7 countries already. We have been filing more than 18 amicus curiae, which is expert opinion in different processes in Latin America. We have been helping for law of recognition of right of nature passed in the continent, and we have more than 5 projects active right now. We are really conscious the Earth Law framework can advance conservation, protection of biodiversity, and reduce climate change. Our program have 4 pillars of work we have been developing the last 4 years. We have a pillar of legislative and policy initiative, advancing right of nature with a lot of success in the region. We also work in environmental justice in court in Latin America. We provide judicial advice and our expert opinion in lawsuit to seek to guarantee right of nature, right of indigenous people, and also the right of future generation. We work in projects to protect the right of human rights and environmental defender rights. Essential part of our work is to build capacity, training our partners, which are indigenous people, and introduce them in the framework of right of nature. Also, we were amplifying their voices in creating global advocacy and movement building. Our program escalates our campaigns in international forums advocating for global solution. I want to share some of our key achievements we had lately. In Peru this year, we have a landmark ruling. A Peruvian court recognized the right of the Marañon River. We are very proud to be partners in that success with our expert opinion in that case, and also we have been partnering in other aspects with indigenous people who are the Cucama women who are the plaintiff in that case. In Panama in 2022 and 2023, we have 2 enormous success, which has been introduced right of nature in the framework in Panama at 2 levels. A general level recognizes the right of the nature in for the all ecosystems in Panama, and also recognize the right of one species. We have the sea turtles in Panama. Also has been very successful and has been already applied by the court protecting the nature in Panama. In 2021, also with our partners, we were successful to introduce right of nature in the Constitution of Oaxaca. That are only some of our achievements. We are very proud of them. And also now I want to share or highlight two main projects we are working right now, where we intersect all of these pillars. Grant, the next, please. Thank you. One of them is our work with the Marañon Women River Defenders, who are the Cucama women who work with them closely. We have been working in three pillars with them. We provide key legal supports in the Marañon Rivers recognition right this year. We have been working with them for 4 years to achieve this success, and we keep working with them because this decision is being reviewed right now for a higher court. So, but that success was very key for them. Also, we work with them at other level. We working providing training for them, and we already empower 30 women from the Cucama Curamira people in Loreto, training in the rights, environmental rights, and right to access of justice, and also introduce them to the vocabulary and the right of the Escazú Agreement. Also, this is a very important project focused in women and women leads of the Cucama Women Federation, to help them to have more voice and access to the justice in Peru. And also we have been working with them, amplifying their voices and bringing them to international forums to keep fighting for the rights and the right of the Marañon River. We have been with them in UN Water Conference, Escazú COP, and we will be with them in the next COP of the Convention of Biodiversity. And also,
about 20 seconds.
Yes. Also, we are having a very beautiful project with the single bees in the Amazonas. We are working with another community, with the Taxanica community, and we are working with them in three pillars, recognizing the right of a single bees. We already filed a project of reform for the law. We're working with them in the declaration of the right of native bees. And also we are working with them to protect the traditional knowledge to developing biocultural community protocols with them. Thank you, Grant.
Thank you so much. Great information, Constanza. Let's hear from Heather on Climate Week.
Thank you, Grant. Welcome, everyone. I'm Heather Robertson, and I am the organizational strategist, and I work with partnerships within Earth Law Center and beyond. And today I'm talking about Climate Week, which is very exciting, happening in September. And we have 3 powerful days, memorable events going on. And Monday is an incredible lawsuit against humanity premiere that's going on. And I would share about it, but I know, Grant, you are completely obsessed with this incredible experience. So do you want to just share a few comments about the Monday event?
Yes, I am so excited about the animals lawsuit against humanity. This is a 1,000-year-old fable out of India that was translated into Islamic faith and then brought to Judaism and Christianity. And so it's transcended all these different religions. And it's about animals suing humans for their poor treatment, written 1,000 years ago. And the animals in the court of the Spirit King bring a case against the humans and demand their fair and proper treatment. And so we have a team of professional actors, a production company. It's all pro bono or low bono, and a beautiful space at the Center for Architecture in New York that seats 175 people to watch the production, and then see a panel from leading experts in the space to talk about what this means in current times, whether it be for factory farming, the rights of nature, giving ecosystems a voice in the legal system, and so forth. So be sure to check out our tickets are going to go quickly. It hasn't been in the New Yorker yet, but it could be soon. We'll see. So make sure to look at that online.
Excellent. Thanks, Grant. And then on Tuesday, we're also going to be working and sharing about our educational program, and that's going to be a full day event. And Linda, do you want to just share a few words? I know you'll go in depth in a few minutes, but is there anything you want to share currently?
Yes, only bouncing off of Elizabeth, we are theming around rivers as they are so vital to all ecosystems and ultimately represent all of our interconnectedness as one ocean. So we're going off of that, and I will give details after your slide.
Okay, thanks, Linda. So Wednesday, we're going to have 5 panels. The theme of that day is going to be Earth Law in Action. So we're going to have 5 panels, incredible panelists. We're also going to have installations with art, which will also be interactive and really unforgettable. So I really encourage you to come on Wednesday. And then in the evening, we're going to have Network for Nature, which is where we can all get together, have some cocktails or your elixir of choice, and really talk about Earth Law in Action and how we can all be involved moving forward. And if you want to learn anything more about Climate Week, get tickets, you can go to our link here that's on the slide. It's also easy to find if you go to our homepage. There's a dedicated area that'll direct you right to our website for more information. If you have any questions, feel free to email us. Thanks, Grant.
Thanks. Tell us a little bit more about education, Linda.
Yes. Hi, I'm Linda Wendling. I am one of the Legacy Fellows, which I will talk about on this slide as well. And I'm going to talk about our education. I'm going to go straight down to education for Climate Week, so I have a good segue and flow. Like I said, our agenda is structured around the rivers, and that's a catalyst for Earth Law movement building, movement lawyering, strategic justice, those kinds of things. We have been honored that New York Law School is giving us one of their gorgeous event spaces. And we'll be able to live stream to other law schools. We've already been in touch with several other law schools. We're talking to the bar associations in the area. We're talking to a few of the larger law firms that have an environmental law practice as well. So our preliminary agenda is there. It looks like a lot, but we're trying to keep everything flowing. We will actually be viewing some of the films. Thank you, Elizabeth, for The Last Stand, Saving the Elwha River. And it's just an introductory course to get everybody gung-ho and understand how powerful that education is. So Power of Education in our Earth Law summer course, this is our 4th summer doing the 6-week online course. This year we want to do proof of concept, so we charge tuition. Most people were able to pay the almost $500. However, we did give out 2 scholarships. One was, or more than 2 scholarships, but as an example of the interest, we had a gentleman, I believe from Uganda, who said that is 2 months worth, and we said full scholarship. We had a teenager who just said, I'm working, I'm going to school, I'm doing the thing. We're like, no worries, scholarship for you too. I feel like Oprah giving out the prizes here. And then we're going to take this and really analyze how do we repackage this? How do we break it down? How do we get it to elementary schools, high schools? How do we get it to CLE? How are we going to have law schools put it into these modules into their courses? So I'm apparently very excited about it. And we had a great cohort of 200 students over 30 countries. It was awesome. The other awesome thing was Earth Law Legacy Fellowship. I spent most of the month of May in Durango, and there was a whole set of experienced attorneys. We convened, and that truly was a fellowship. I cannot say enough. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. So the picture is there. There's a highlights video for that fellowship. We hope to do that every year, get experienced attorneys in, and those of us in the inaugural will be happy to serve as mentors, because you can see the enthusiasm never wanes. So I'm done, wrapped up.
Thank you, Linda. Great information on the education program. Let's bring it over to Dafe to talk about Nigeria and Africa. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Grant. Can you see me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is a great opportunity to share what is happening in Africa, especially in Nigeria here. within the last 10 years. As you can see, the climate week is close, making every effort to be here physically, to be in New York physically for the climate week, to share what we've been doing in the past 3 decades in Nigeria with regards to right of nature, especially with regards to River Ethiope. As you can see, the whole journey started in April 1992. So we spent almost 2 decades trying to experiment with the traditional law. And in the process, we find out it was not working. Rather than River Ethiope improving in our head, it deteriorated. So in 2027, partnership with Right of Nature Earth Law Center US, we started to shift the ways of how to give River Ethiope permanent protections. And that led us to do a lot of activity under the right of nature. And within 4 years of that partnership, we strike an achievement that led us to declare stakeholder declaration of right of River Ethiope in January 2020. Before this time, like I said, we spent several decades trying to utilize the traditional environmental tool to see how to save River Ethiope. They didn't work, despite all the awareness we created from community to communities, from different type of indigenous people to others. We find that the priority here is economic development without any giving respect to the right of nature. So we shifted our system to right of nature approach, and which of course are indigenous ways of living with nature. African is well known for that aspect. In fact, before the coming of colonialism and Western lifestyle, and most area in Africa live in harmony with nature. They do everything in harmony with nature. So the idea was not actually new, nor neither novel to the people. And while we in our campaign, we try to let them know that we have actually lived in this type of life before. Unfortunately, they were not documented. So the message was very clear to them. They didn't waste time. So we are on moving. And the good news is that we have, within this short period, achieved a lot. Starting with the stakeholder declaration right of River Ethiope in 2020, followed up by other activities, very interesting. In 2021, we launched an institute called River Ethiope Basin Institute with partnership with Delta State University, and with the hope of promoting research focused on river within the River Ethiope catchment. And that institute is built to commence officially by October this year with PGD, MSc, and PhD on area relating to integrated water resource management and right of nature, and as you can see. And we move ahead with that. We celebrate a lot of activities from year to year through World Rivers Day, and most of our team had been centered on the right of nature. And in 2023, the impact we received was that the federal government of Nigeria adopted Universal Declaration of Right of River in January last year. And they are in the process of domesticating that particular adoption. And we're hopeful by next year, there's a new law, national law, that will come up on all the rivers in Nigeria. Meanwhile, we have gone to a point where we have presented a bill, thanks to Earth Law Center with all the effort within the last 5 years. And the bill had been presented to Delta State House of Assembly, and the first reading has been passed, and we are waiting the second and public hearing. In the past 2 weeks, we have been going around educating all stakeholders about it, and they are fully ready. And we don't have any apprehension that the bills will not skate through. It will surely skate through. It's being sponsored by the Deputy Speaker of the Delta State House of Assembly, who also happens to be a son of the River Ethiope catchment. So he sees the project as a very paramount effort to him to deliver to the people of Delta State. We are hoping that maybe before the climate week, we should be able to conclude with this big effort and share our happiness and celebration in New York. For now, this is what has been with us. We hope to achieve more. I'm actually in Abuja, the federal capital of Nigeria, where I'm having a further engagement with some key stakeholders, NGO, government, and academicians. I hope to be handing this meeting tomorrow. So I just took an excuse from the meeting to deliver this wonderful update with what is happening in Nigeria and Africa. Thank you very much, Grant, for this great opportunity.
Hey, thank you so much for sharing all the exciting news with more to come. Okay, now I'll talk about the Earth Law portal for a moment. This is a project that was inspired by sites such as LegalZoom and Rocket Lawyer. If you've ever been on one of those sites and you're like, oh, I need like a draft will, and you go on there and you type in your information, and then you download a document that's all filled in. It's a great legal template. It works fairly well. Of course, consult a lawyer afterwards to make sure you're checking all the boxes. And we thought, oh, what if there's something like that for Earth Law? And what if along with it, there are all sorts of advocacy tools to help people engage in the movement towards Earth Law, rights of nature, the voice of nature, ecocide is a crime, and all these staples to our work. And we launched it last year, the Earth Law portal. There's the domain there. So it has legal models, letters, videos, reports, and more. We have some great metrics there of kind of the different numbers of templates we've created. It's a shared site, so I'm excited. There's 14 partners on there and hopefully more soon. And so if you have a great, innovative legal template you'd like to see up there, just reach out to us. There's a good chance we can put it on the site. One of the new areas we're expanding into is in the area of health, community health, public health, and health equity. And, you know, one of the exciting things about Earth Law is you can reimagine every different area of the legal system from an Earth-centered perspective. So take family law, traditionally applies to our relationships amongst humans. What if family law applied to also relationships with non-humans? The idea that animals can be kin or relatives under the law, as just one example. We're taking an ecocentric dive into public health and health equity. So really excited about that expansion of the portal. And then lastly, I just wanted to give a shout out to the Eco Jurisprudence Monitor. If you want an amazing database of this mass, and it is a mass, thousands of examples of legal precedent across the world, and want to see those original documents of laws and private law innovations and constitutional amendments and the rights of nature and Earth Law and so forth, go check out the Eco Jurisprudence Monitor. It's really beautiful and a brilliant resource. I hope everyone bookmarks both that and the Earth Law portal and uses them regularly. So that's our update there. We're going to get an update on state level rights of nature from Kevin Schneider. Over to you.
Hey everyone, I'm Kevin Schneider, counsel with the Earth Law Center in New York, and have been practicing primarily animal law, animal rights law for almost 15 years. And what I wanted to pull up here is kind of some of what we're seeing in terms of a reaction against rights of nature at the state level, which I think can sometimes seem like a setback, but you know, I'm personally pretty convinced that it's evidence of us, you know, making an impact, getting through and making people nervous, industry and certain, you know, political actors, but also I think galvanizing for people. So we heard a bit earlier from Ellie Dunn about our work in Washington for the rights of orcas and other species. You know, that's a direct counter to what you see here. I think the most recent was Utah. Idaho is a good example for me. And all of these state laws basically just say nature cannot have rights, animals cannot have rights. Some of them even include AI in there, which is interesting. But the Idaho one is special in some ways for me because it kind of specifically cited some of my own animal rights work. And I know in Utah, you know, Earth Law Center's advocacy really, I think, helped inspire this law. So I think it's just a reflection of how active this area is, how much we're sort of getting sort of under the skin of some folks, but I think ultimately a really positive sign that what we're doing is having a real impact, and that it will continue to grow, even if we have these sort of challenges in the short term. I think just real quick, you know, we look at any kind of big social change, you know, these things are, it's almost like a playbook where you have some states decide to try it and other states react against it. Gay marriage, I think, is a really clear recent example of this. We know how that ultimately turned out at the Supreme Court. So I I think interesting times for us to be doing this work, and super important as well. So that's it for me. I'll stop there.
Thanks, Kevin. And shout out to law student intern Emily Dwyer, who's, I believe, here for making this beautiful graphic. All right, let's hear on Indigenous Earth Law from Dr. Kelsey Leonard. Floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be with you. So with our Indigenous Earth Law program, we are partnering with a variety of Indigenous nations, organizations, and communities to really support local leaders, grassroots advocacy, and activism in the space of education, policy, governance. So really taking a holistic and open tent approach to the work that we do. And in some instances, this includes Indigenous-led rights of nature activities. So, as you may be familiar with in recent years, some of the preeminent examples of rights of nature pieces of legislation in the United States and North America more broadly have stemmed from Indigenous governments. For example, the Klamath River by the Yurok tribe, the Menominee River by the Menominee tribe, the Magpie River in Canada, which is Canada's first river to have recognition for legal personhood by both the Innu First Nation and a local Quebecois municipality. So we, through our program, are really trying to amplify those best practices and continue to champion those Indigenous-led efforts in the context of rights of nature. But we also understand Indigenous Earth Law to be much broader than only rights of nature. We kind of think of all Earth Law as a tree where there are some branches that are currently on it, some that will grow, and some that will fall off. But one of the sort of key pillars juxtaposed to rights of nature, because you can often think about Indigenous Earth Law as rights-based frameworks, which will operate oftentimes within a rights of nature lens, and responsibility-based frameworks. And those frameworks, we have worked with collaborators and partners through the Indigenous Environmental Network, IEN, to put forward a conceptualization of what we call inherent relationships jurisprudence. And in this sense, it's really about those relationship responsibility-based frameworks of law that are embedded within Indigenous legal systems, ancient legal systems, the natural law of Indigenous peoples. There's also aspects of customary law. Some of these terms may be familiar to folks. For others, they may be new, but these are legal terms. Indigenous rights. It also includes aspects of treaty law, the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, as you may have also heard advocated for through our Latin American team. We do some cross and international collaborations in those spaces. And then it also can be non-abrogated rights and then potentially crossover with rights of nature. So with our work with Indigenous Environmental Network, we have I guess, championed conversations across North America with Indigenous leaders since 2022. We like to call it maybe our road sessions, where our colleagues at IEN actually go into community and visit with Indigenous leaders to hear on the ground some of the ways in which they are innovating in the space of inherent relationships jurisprudence and some of the thought leadership that they're expressing. So we started that in 2022 with the road sessions. We did them again in 2023, and we also, in that instance, branched out across the imagined border, and we had a session in Toronto. So we've had folks from Indigenous nations from both the US, Canada, and even Mexico in some instances where we have some Southern communities that don't recognize the border and regularly cross that. So 2022, 2023, and now 2024, we're concluding road sessions that were done with the Protecting Mother Earth conference that sort of was a conclusive event for this summer and this year, which just ended and was held by IEN in Cherokee, North Carolina, on the traditional lands of the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians. And so we're just so excited to have this partnership, to continue to work to see its fruition. And if you have any Indigenous Earth Law ideas, come bring them to ELC. We would love to collaborate. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you so much for those exciting updates. We will now move to two delegates amongst our summer student interns who will just tell you a little bit about themselves and their experiences at Earth Law Center. They will not be penalized for their open and honest viewpoints on the organization. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to let us share about our internship. My name is Elijah Bully. I'm a senior at the University of Chicago studying political science and human rights. Some of my research includes the different punitive measures that have been taken against land protectors and the way that big oil has affected environmental movements in the past. In the fall, I'm excited to work on my thesis looking at the development of the political economies of the Omaha and Ho-Chunk tribes of Nebraska. As to why I chose ELC to come and intern here, it just seemed like a great fit. The rights of nature is something that I've been passionate about for a long time. I've been talking with Grant about the mission of ELC. It seemed in great alignment with the traditions and the values that I've been taught. I'm a descendant of the Omaha tribe, and protecting the environment is something that's critical to us. We do believe that water is life, and so there's nothing that's more important. And I don't think that there's a better way that I could spend my summer. And so I'm really happy to be here. As to how it's going, I've been here a week. I got into Durango about last Monday, and it's been fantastic. I haven't made any copies or fetched any cups of coffee. It's been pretty substantive, hands-on work already. I got to lend a hand on an advisory white paper for COP16. I also explored the possibility of constitutional conventions to amend state constitutions to enshrine the rights of nature. And I'm also working on a project for the Earth Law portal that Grant told you about to possibly make a draft of a code for tribes to adopt to mandate stronger requirements for FEMA environmental impact statements. So it's been really fantastic. If you can look at the photos on the slide, I've got to do a bit of exploring around Durango, and that's also been very impactful. I do a lot of work on paper to protect the environment, but to actually climb mountains and see these rivers and be immersed in Mother Nature has been very profound. And I'll pass it off to Sophia.
Thanks, Elijah.
Thank you, Elijah. Hi, everyone. My name is Sophia, and I'm also an intern this summer. I am originally from San Francisco, and I'm going into my last year at Georgetown, where my major is called Science, Technology, and International Affairs. So I'm basically studying environmental policy. So again, ELC was kind of a great natural fit for me. I know that I really want to pursue environmental work after I graduate, and I was really curious about doing that from a nonprofit and a legal perspective. So it's been a really great experience. I was in Durango in person last week, and I'm working remotely now. I have really enjoyed it so far because, to echo what Elijah said, I feel like the work that I'm doing is really contributing to ELC's mission, and I can tell that it's making a difference, which I really appreciate. One of the first things that I did was do some research to add to the Kimish River memo, and seeing that tangible impact was really exciting on my first day. It was also great to be in Durango in person to kick off my internship. We had the chance to go on a hike, and we also went to a rodeo, and that was really fun. And it was great just to bond with the other interns and also to meet Matt and Grant. So yeah, I've loved my experience so far, and I'm really excited to keep working with ELC.
Thank you so much to both of you. And just a general note, our internship program is so core to all of the work that we do. And as we just heard from Elijah and Sophia, we do try to give really substantive, meaningful projects to our interns. And it's a mix of undergraduate and law students, the occasional high school student as well. And yeah, especially in the summer, they produce, years worth of substantive projects in working with our team, and then carry forward that work into their careers as they go. So really grateful for everything that you do at the organization. And also shout out to Matt Zeppelin, our operations manager, who's been typing in the chat for coordinating and ensuring all of our interns have a really great experience here. So appreciate all of that support as well. So thank you. All right, Herman, tell us about the Earth Law Society. Oh, we don't hear you, Herman.
Hello, I'm Herman Green, the Thomas Berry Scholar in Residence of the Earth Law Center. And I'm working on a project that would expand the reach of the Earth Law work. One way of thinking about the Earth Law Center, it's about making Earth Law and making Earth lawyers. So we have three primary areas. One is advocacy, the other is co-creative consulting, and the other is our education, which is where we really spread the work of the center. And we do that through the educational programs that you've heard about, through media, including our path-breaking legal textbook on Earth Law, Emerging Ecocentric Law, a Practitioner's Guide, and through the internships, which are both remote and in person in Durango. And then this one, which is new, it's just being launched. We have drafted an invitation to consider the formation of an Earth Law Society, a document on how it might work, and one on the value proposition for an Earth Law Society for funders. And we'll begin those discussions. We are beginning those discussions in earnest, and we hope to have an event at Climate Week. But it will take time to organize and staff and fund the organization, and we'll fully launch it in 2025 or 2026. So if you think of what the Federalist Society has been able to accomplish in the United States through its emphasis on limited government and originalism of the Constitution and individual rights, they had a history to build on. The Earth Law Center is all about the future. We have to create that. And the Earth Law Society will do even more than the Federalist Society has done. And that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Herman. And folks hear about Durango a bit, so just to add a note on that, we're an international organization. As you heard, we have staff and all over the world in many big cities, New York, Mexico City, Paris, London, and so forth. But we do like to have a beautiful little office space tucked away in the mountains where people can come and hike and sit in hot springs and really explore the future of Earth Law from a place of beauty. And so I hope you come visit or see our staff in any of the many cities that we live and work in. We only have 2 slides left, and so we'll finish right on time. And actually, I love to finish meetings 2 or 3 minutes early. That's my record for running to the bathroom, pouring a cup of coffee, putting a little creamer in it, and starting my Zoom meeting. So I love to give 3 minutes before people have their next call, in case you can break my record there. And so, we'll end in just a couple minutes here. I'm just going to do a roundup on our oceans program. We are doing a lot of oceans work, and a lot of it is hopefully increasingly focused on place-based ocean protection. That's kind of where we want to move the program in the future. We had a couple amazing oceans people recently move on to other exciting opportunities, and they're thriving, which is great. We always love that. And we continue to partner with the ocean rights work, partnering with the Ocean Race and Ocean Vision Legal, which is continues to be a priority for us. And then we have some other cool things we're doing, giving the ocean board seats on a company, working to give deep sea species a voice in the International Seabed Authority, which regulates deep sea mining, where they're literally bringing these giant vacuums to the deepest depths of the deep sea and vacuuming up these nodules for used for precious metals, but also vacuuming up the deep sea floor and all these like amazing ecosystems that have been undisturbed down there since time immemorial. And we think deep sea species should have a voice in the International Seabed Authority, should have a seat represented by guardians to have its say as to whether these practices should occur. And we're speaking to a couple governments about that already. We're providing support for Indigenous-led marine protected areas. That's a really exciting program that overlaps with our Indigenous Earth Law work. And then working on the rights of the Mediterranean Sea is just a kind of new effort that's emerging. But if you know any especially place-based projects where people could use some of our expertise in Earth Law, we are available depending on the fit with some of our programs and capacity. So please let people know. These are just a few examples of things that we're working on. And we already heard a little bit about the Orca's work from Elizabeth Dunn earlier in the call. And then lastly is the work of Nature Governance and the Nature Governance Agency, which is the group of folks who work on giving nature a voice in governance, including corporate bodies. And we worked with Lawyers for Nature, as well as Voice for Nature and others on this idea of giving nature its own board seat in a company. And we did that for the first time in history with the company Faith in Nature, which has a director now through a proxy that speaks as nature. And that was the tip of the iceberg. It turns out there's so many innovative ways you can incorporate the voice, the way, and the vote of nature into governance structures. And some of this can be corporations that are doing good for the planet, that are genuinely committed to restoring health and balance to ecosystems. But there's also lots of lessons here to be learned for other forms of guardianship, like the idea of giving deep sea species a voice in the International Seabed Authority, which is itself a corporate institution, also ties into this idea. And imagine if in the future there are thousands or tens or hundreds of thousands of individuals whose profession is to represent nature. And of course, in a lot of cases, that can be traditional guardians and stewards, can be trained earth lawyers, or it can be others. And our team, our Nature Governance Agency, can't be here today. They're on a silent retreat, really connecting deeply with nature. But I do have a short video from Alexandra P. Moore of this program, just to get a little taste of her insights that I'll play now, and then we'll wrap up.
But it's also the nature of business, because the truth is, this is what we are really trying to change. We want to protect the natural environment, and we want to protect Gaia as a whole, and we want to protect all life on Earth. But this can only happen if we change the nature of business, if we change the nature of our governance systems, if we change the nature of our economies. So we have to look at the nature of this as well. And then the next step for these organizations is why? Why do you want to bring nature on board? Because here's the thing, we have managed to bring nature on the board of a corporation, as is getting really well known. Faith in Nature, an eco-beauty company based in the UK, has brought nature as a non-executive director on their board. So this is actually a legal innovation, first of its kind. So we know that in a legal sense, in a technical sense, you can bring the voice of nature on a board. And then what? What happens then? Because what matters is what you're going to do afterwards. It's not enough to bring nature on the board. You have to really think, about the vision that you are creating and the reality that you want to co-create, that you want to manifest, so that you're looking at your values, your principles, and you're looking at what you will be changing, what you will be becoming. So when we integrate, or when we start on the process of integrating the voice of nature, we really want to understand the why. What is the vision that you have in mind? How do you want to change things, and why do you want to change things? And that means that when you bring nature on the board for us, it means that you are ready to practice nature conscious governance and leadership.
So I'll pause there. Nature conscious governance and leadership. That's what this is all about. And in all of our work, rights of nature, the voice of nature, nature governance, and so forth, it's about creating these ecocentric laws and frameworks. But that's a transition into a new way of life, a way of connection with nature, about living in harmony with the natural world in a deep cultural transformative sense. And that's what Ali is talking about with nature conscious governance. Be sure to check out the toolkit, Onboarding Nature. It's on our website on the landing page for this program. And it has 10 case studies of where people have worked to give nature a voice, a vote, or incorporate the way of nature into their governance frameworks. Now the wrap up, and then we can move on with our days. The stuff we talked about today, all those exciting programs, the people you heard from, I kid you not, this is the tip of the iceberg of what we're working on. We have dozens of other active projects in 15 or 20 other countries around the world. We're working in 6 or 7 other international law institutions. We're working in dozens of communities across the world. There's so much going on. We couldn't possibly explain it all in an hour, but I hope we gave you a taste, a flavor for the work we're doing and the people who are behind it. There's also a lot of other groups that are doing awesome work in the rights of nature space. I always like to highlight them. Just a few that came to mind are Talking Rivers, Save the World's Rivers, and the Leatherback Project. And there's dozens of other groups that are also advancing earth-centered laws, Earth Law, the rights of nature. So if you like our work and there's a certain region of the world you're interested in, or a type of work you're interested in, please reach out to me or our team. And if it's not us, we'd love to direct you to another partner or group you might support in the future. And I lastly wanted to just acknowledge 3 things we didn't have the chance to acknowledge in 30 seconds or less. Guardians ad litem is a way for humans to represent other entities in the courts. We already do it for children in the courts. What if we expanded the idea of representing children, which can be a paying role in the courts, to representing nature? We're working on legislation that would make that a possibility. We also have a legal apprenticeship where we have one legal apprentice right now, Jesse Kate, who's studying to become a lawyer through Earth Law Center through an innovative program. So I wanted to let people know that that's something we're working on already. How do you become an earth lawyer through a non-traditional route? And lastly, if you can't bring nature into the courtroom, we're looking at ways where judges would be required to, in major environmental cases, engage in a deep immersion in nature, in an ecosystem, as a way of hearing its voice in the courts. So let me stop there. You've got 2 minutes to get your coffee, go to the bathroom. I appreciate everyone's time. Please reach out if any of these were of interest. And if you want to support us, go on the website. We, of course, take donations, volunteers, interns, partnerships. We want to collaborate. Just reach out and we will get back to you promptly. So thank you.